Hello and welcome to a short BiteWISe video introducing you to the ideas and concepts behind open science. As we've noted before in our video on the international perspectives on open access, research is international. Many of the challenges that face our researchers are international in nature and require an international response. International collaborations of researchers are now the norm for projects in many disciplines. Novel communication technologies such as citizen science, crowdsourcing, and virtual research environments, or VREs, along with mobile devices increasing the flexibility of fieldwork, have facilitated a change in the way researchers interact with each other and with the wider world, and research is now being developed in a communal way, often with partners outside of higher education. Research is also increasingly interdisciplinary, with over 35% of articles published in journals now based on international collaborations, compared with just 25% 15 years ago. Research in this context can be broadly understood as the collecting, analysing, publishing, reanalyzing, critiquing, and reusing of data. Data is used here in the broadest sense of the term as the smallest building blocks of research. For example, a single survey response, an archive document, or the output of a single experiment, or in the many other examples shown here. Data can be analog and/or digital, quantitative and/or qualitative, and are created, observed, or collected for the purpose of analysis to validate a research question. But for researchers undertaking truly international research, there are often numerous barriers to undertaking this research. Barriers rooted in differing levels of access to tools and resources across the research lifecycle. Proponents of open science identify a number of these barriers that impede or dissuade the broad dissemination of scientific data. These barriers fall into three main types: legal, cultural, and technical. Legal barriers are where researchers are restricted in what data they can share, or restricted in what they can do with the data they have due to legal issues. These can be clearly articulated legal barriers, or implicit ones due to a lack of or poor licensing information with the data. Cultural barriers arise often in a fear of what might happen if a researcher does share data, in fears of potential misinterpretation or misuse of that data, and in a lack of clear incentives to share. Technical barriers arise with issues in the formatting of data or use of proprietary software that makes it difficult to repurpose the data in other ways. Open science represents a new approach to the scientific process based on cooperative work and new ways of diffusing knowledge by using digital technologies and new collaborative tools. Some of these principles have been around and growing in prominence in the research landscape over the past decade. Concepts such as open access to research outputs and open research data are established ideas. Open science looks to extend these principles of openness to the whole research lifecycle, fostering sharing and collaboration as early as possible, thus entailing a systematic change in the way science and research is done. With open science, all aspects of a research project are made as open as practical and possible, from choosing to use open source tools for the project, making the methodology and analysis tools openly available, as well as the data underlying the project and the final research outputs. Open science also advocates doing any peer review of research openly and transparently, and the creation and use of open educational resources in teaching. It can be hard to know where to start with making your research more open, so if this video has inspired you, here are a few suggestions. Make sure to check your consent forms for any research project to make sure that they allow you to make your data open at the end of the project. Consider using an open license, such as the Creative Commons licenses, on any of your figures in your papers so that you can reuse them in later publications, blog posts, or presentations. For data analysis, consider using open source tools and scripts such as RScript or SPSS syntax. Use RAP to make your research papers open access, or contact the research data team if you're interested in learning more about sharing your datasets openly. Thank you.